Hello, students. This is your Data Assignment 2 help video. And I'm going to share my screen. Go in and start from scratch here. It's really frustrating to get asked that every single time you do something. So you want to grab your data. Make sure you don't get the variable labels at the top. Just grab the data first and post that in SPSS. And I tried an earlier take. First name's got an illegal variable. How can that happen? Right. What exactly is going on here? Control C. And I've done that a few times. So when you go in to copy stuff, paste stuff in, there's two views, and I went through this last time, data view, variable view. I tried to post it in variable view, and that's not the first time I've tried to do that. Couldn't figure out what in the world was going on. I was in the wrong view. So the next thing we want to do is we want to go back to our spreadsheet, and we want to copy in the names of the different variables. A couple things here. You can't have a space or a dash in a variable name in SPSS. And you also cannot start with a number. So I have to put in page underscore likes, not page dash likes or page space likes in the variable name in order to get that to work. And now this time we're in variable view and pops in the variables. The next thing I think I asked you to do was to do the decimals to 0, except for a couple of the variables. The only two variables that we actually need numbers on are this one, male and female. So just leave 2 decimals there. We're also going to create a new variable where we're going to need decimals. Engagement rate's a variable that we're going to create, and it needs decimals. So we're going to go in and just a little slow, Go in and change everything, call everything except the last 3 variables scale. And then the last 3 variables are going to be nominal. Right click, wait for it. Nah, too slow. Let's do them one at a time. I don't know. It just doesn't let me. There we go. Just no patience, Don. No patience. You need some patience. Patience. We're going to put some values in for the nominal variable. So a nominal variable is kind of artificially designated. In this case, we designated 0 for promote, means no promotion. No promotion. We did not boost any content during that week. And a 1 means yes, we did. So we'll just call that promotion, or we could call it yes promotion, or whatever is easier for you, and go OK. And then we're going to do a similar thing to content. So a value of 0 means no new content during that week. So the data that's set up on the left is in weeks. So we're looking at stuff over time, over a period of 34 weeks, and value is 0, and we'll add that. We'll go OK, and well, I need to put in a 1, and that means new content. And I got a little bit ahead of myself there. Add, and I will need to edit that. Just remove it and say 0 means no new content. For this one, I'm asking you to do an analysis on your own. So you might want to try something with this. A 0 means that there was no content. Okay. And the rest of the stuff has to do with the type of content. So a 1 means a how-to. 2, and I can't remember all of a sudden what a 2 is. A 2 is a tidbit, interesting tidbit. So we'll just call that a tidbit. Interesting tidbit. 3, in this particular example, was a tease. And I believe a 4 was an other. Gosh, I really hate to do this, but I need to check and make sure that I did that right. 4 is other, yes. Add, okay. And so we've got our variables labeled. Normally, you label your nominal variables. You don't need to have, you wouldn't normally have labels for scale variables. Sometimes an ordinal variable, some will be kind of in between that kind of thing. So now we are ready to run our analysis. And the first analysis is, we're going to go to general linear model univariate. So this is a type of analysis called analysis of variance. You probably heard about it, remember it vaguely from statistics. Univariate means one dependent variable. Multivariate means multiple dependent variables. So it doesn't mean necessarily that you have, oh, I need to do something else. Okay, we got to go compute. So we got to go create our engagement rate. And I could have done this in Excel, but I want to show how it was done here. So you hit transform, compute variable, and we're going to compute a variable called engagement rate. I'm just going to call it engage underscore rate. And that's our outcome variable. And then we're going to set up a calculation for creating this new variable. So you can either just put a parentheses in there, go like that. So basically it's clicks plus page likes plus commented, commented plus shares plus links. And in this case, it means they clicked on a link. And we'll close the parentheses. I'll point and click my way to that just so y'all can see it. And then we're going to divide that by reach. So all of these things divided into reach, and we go okay, and we got a new variable. Why it has to give you an output for that, I'm not sure, but this happens anytime you do something, this new output comes up, and no, we don't want to save it. We don't need that in our output. So we now have a new variable, engagement rate. We go over here to the right, you can kind of see it. Certainly wouldn't hurt to have an extra decimal there maybe for engagement rate, but I'm going to leave it alone. And now we're ready to analyze our data. So the first thing we'll go back to what I was started to do before, univariate analysis of invariance. The dependent variable for this first one is reach, and the criterion, the independent variables are promote and content. And we'll go plot, and we'll put 1 in there and 1 there, add it, and click continue. And this plot's going to look a little silly, I think. It's not as silly as it could look, I guess. So you can see what happens between over here. We have promotion versus no promotion. So these are the no promotions, and these two are the promotions. And the 2 lines tell us about the content. Red is, yes, there is new content. Blue, no, there isn't any content. Now, the key thing to look at in the output is the test between subjects effects. And it's often, and most of the time, whether it's running a regression or we're doing, multivariate, or it doesn't matter what it is we're doing, no matter how complicated, the key thing tends to be in this last little box here. So you can, whether a variable has a significant effect on another variable is found here. The significance, in this case of F, if we run regression, be significance of T. And you can see that promotion has very low numbers, 0.000. The lower the number in significance of F, the stronger the relationship. And you may remember that p-value, called p-value, less than 0.05 is kind of our cutoff. Less than 0.05 is our cutoff. You can see that this number here, that content does have an effect. In other words, whether we put a new content piece in that week or not does have an effect on reach. And it's not really that strong because it's 0.044, but that's still below 0.05. So we would conclude that content has a significant effect on reach. Now, then we need to understand the nature of the relationship. It's not enough to know that the two variables are significantly related. Are they related in a way that is good or bad, positive or negative? In this case, the promotion is here. So you've got to conclude, did promoting, so we know that there's significant effect, did promotion increase the reach? And you got to look at that graph and kind of figure that out. We also need to know whether or not content had we know it's significant, not really strong, but it's significant. So which of these two lines, the red line or the blue line, has a higher reach? If you conclude that the red line has a higher reach, and I don't know, I said no new contents, so sorry about that. You should not have a misspelling in your output. It should be spelled new content. We have to conclude which, and that tells us the nature of the relationship. Now, I don't believe on the questions. You really just have to kind of tell me which significant or not, and I'm happy with that. But now the next analysis we're going to do, and you're going to have to take a look at the nature of the relationship when you have these main effects type of relationship. The interaction is not significant, so that we don't find an interaction in this data. So later on, we're going to do some stuff with some really robust interactions and some really, different things going on with the graph. But in this case, we do not have a significant interaction. It's only data analysis 2. So now we go back to analyze, and we're going to run another analysis of variance, univariate. But instead of reach, we're going to take reach out, and we're going to put our new engagement rate, which we calculated. We're going to put that variable in as a dependent variable. And the plots, we already know. Yeah, we already got the plots in there. So we're going to click OK, and we're going to run that. And once again, you see this time the outcomes, so the dependent variable, outcome variable, in my deep Southern accent, dependent variable, is engagement rate. And once again, we see that promotion is significantly related to engagement rate, and so is content. In fact, they're both at 0, 0, 0. Now, this number here, 0.05, is not significant. It's just barely not significant, but we do not have a significant interaction. So the two, we don't care about the intercept. In neither of these cases do we care about the intercept. You just ignore that when you do your write-up. Focus on what is the effect of promotion on engagement rate and what is the effect of content on engagement rate. And once again, we got to figure out the nature of the relationship. So these two numbers here indicate what happens when we have no promotion. And kind of the midpoint of that is kind of what the average would be when we do not promote. And these two numbers here indicate there is a promotion. The red line means yes, there is new content, and the blue line means no, there's not new content. So you're going to have to try to figure out the nature of the relationship here, the nature of the relationship in terms of whether or not the main effect of promotion on content, which we know is significant, does it help it or hurt it? Does it go up or go down? You got to look at this, and that's one of the things you've got to try to figure out. One of these results is kind of counterintuitive. You have to kind of think about it, and that is going to be one of the questions as well for you to tell me. One of these things kind of is not what we might expect. At least I think for people that work in the business, they would expect it, but for most people who are new, like you're in your first semester of the program, you would probably expect it to show up the other way, the other direction, for it to be negative instead of positive, or positive instead of negative, or something like that. That's what you would expect. So the other analysis that I have you doing is regression, and we're going to do linear regression. And we're going to put the same outcome variable in, engagement rate. And we're going to put in age, female, and we're going to put those 3 age groups in. Click OK. And we're going to look and see whether or not that is significant or not. And you can see that being female is significantly related to whether or not to engagement rate. And we're going to look, and we can see that this age group and this age group is related to the engagement rate, but the over 55 is not. So you have female and the ages. Now, when you're looking at this, once again, you have to explain the nature of the relationships. The nature of the relationship. So does being this age, what effect does that have? If we have a beta coefficient that is positive, that means that the 13 to 17s are significantly related, and the outcome is significant. That being 13 to 17 is significantly related to engagement and positive. So the 13 to 17s are more likely to engage. Now, if you got a negative, it means the opposite. And I'll leave the rest of that for you to figure out whether or not being female leads to more engagement or less, whether or not being 18 to 25 leads to more engagement or less. And I've already told you that because this beta coefficient is positive, that does lead to more engagement. So being 13 to 17 does lead to more engagement. I don't have enough data points for you to put a bunch of stuff in there for this, but I did want to run one regression and allow you to take a look at it. So you're now done. You need to answer the questions. Go open the questions and answer the questions. If you struggle getting the thing to run or something like that, don't beat your head against the wall. Get in touch with me and I'll let you drive. We'll set up a Zoom meeting and I'll let you drive, and we'll at least get the output ready. I'm hoping that you can look at this and understand. So some key things to look at. We're looking at whether something is positive or negative. Like we're looking at these points. We're comparing for promotion. We got promotion here. We're comparing these 2 points. For content, we're comparing the red line to the blue line. And the same thing here. This is no promotion versus promotion. And this is the in terms of the effect on the engagement rate. And for content, the red line to the blue line. Red line, yes, there is new content. Blue line, no, there is new content. Now, when we run the regressions, instead of asking for plots, we're going to be looking at the data coefficients. And this is an unstandardized coefficient and a standardized coefficient. The unstandardized, like E minus 5, is a little bit hard to explain, but the coefficient, the regular beta coefficient, means for every 1 unit increase in X, what happened to Y. The standardized beta coefficient means for every 1 standard deviation increase in X, how much did Y change in standard deviations? So that's what the standardized beta coefficient. I think for our purposes, probably easier for you to report this, just because I don't have all that e to the negative 5 stuff. Report the standardized coefficient. There are times when you want the unstandardized, but we'll leave that for another day. Significance is here, less than 0.05. Nature of the relationship here, in terms of the analysis of variance. So that was regression. In terms of analysis of variance, significance is here, less than 0.05, significant 0.05 or greater, no. And the nature of the relationship is in the plots. I'm going to stop sharing and stop the video. Good luck, everybody, on data assignment 2.